Hey, listen, your life is nowhere near as good as it can be if you have not done something that puckers your butt in the last 30 days. By that, I mean scares you, makes you tighten up, right? Because that's what happens. I know that we all have big goals and big aspirations, but to be quite honest, there's a comfort zone that you might have operating that you haven't stepped out of, and that's limiting your ability to have greatest success as possible in your life. And so today we're going to talk about really how to do the hard but necessary thing to get to that next tier. If you want to have this point of your life be one in the future where you look back and go, man, I'm great, I'm doing phenomenal things, it's going to happen because you do something different. And the way that I know it is we've got to start looking at this comfort zone as this thing is actually ruining our life. This thing it's hindering us from experiencing cool things, because the more success, the more happiness, the more achievements, the more goals that get met are only going to happen on that outskirt where you finally step into a space that scares you. Like, that's the pathway to it. The price of admission quite literally is doing something that's uncomfortable. Right now, my oldest son runs track up at Oregon. He's an Oregon Duck like me. I played when I was younger. Played college football there. He's running this track thing, but he's learning the hard way how this comfort zone works. It's one where he's at a Division I level. It's the University of Oregon. It's a big track program. And the truth of it is he is feeling what it feels like physically and emotionally to step out of the comfort zone, right? To do those things that weren't normal to him. But that's where you find success. It's where you get faster for him, stronger for him, more successful for him. But it's the same for everybody, right? It's the same for me when I was in college. I had to find a way to step out of my comfort zone to be the guy that would go do great things and start my true sophomore year and play, for years and play in the NFL. And all the great things that we experience, I look back on with pride, the same thing that you look back on with pride. All those things come on the backside of you having done something that was really scary. It just was. It was something that made you fear it. And we sometimes postpone it, because if it was something that didn't scare us, we would have already done it by now. So that reality is what's got to set in, because I know for one thing, like, I don't want to get to my deathbed at some point in my life and look back and go, man, I wish I would have done more. I've always said the last person you want to meet in your deathbed is the person you could have been, because that person, realistically, they exist. It will exist. The person you could have been it could be the person you are, the person you find out you could have been. And no one wants that to be a moment where you look back and go, I wish it was more. So today I'm going to walk you through really a 3-step system that I use to really unpack and step through the next stages. And so we talked through this. I want you, if you can't take notes, pay attention. You can put the video in the corner of your phone maybe and take notes somewhere else. But this is the biggest thing you got to look at. The first step is this moment of where you're at cannot be your limit. The moment of effort you're giving, like whatever you're doing right now, this cannot be your limit. What I mean by that is we will always step into certain areas. We will do hard things, but we'll find ourselves at a point where it's too hard. It's the limit. I can't do anymore. And at that moment, what happens is what you've experienced will be the most you'll ever experience. It'll be the highest peak of your success. And so most people in this situation, when things get really hard, they create excuses for why they can't go farther. They make this limit acceptable. And there's a statement by a guy named Gay Hendrickson. He says, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them, right? And so what happens is we have these excuses and we accept these excuses, and these situations become real to us. They become things that we go, you know what? I'm going to stay right here. And so what happens the rest of your life, what you choose to do is you choose to never lean into something. You choose to never go past that point of difficulty. And so you end up getting to a point where you never do new things. You never try new things. And really what I've found is if I want to get to a point where I'm not stuck, I'm not getting that same rigmarole of looking at life going, I wish I had this thing and I wish I'm stuck here. What happens is I get stuck on this limit. I can get past that point if I do things that scare me. And I have to realize this. The limit I have, the limit you have right now can't be the limit. What that means is when you get to that point, you have to go, all right, at this moment I'm at, this is my top. This is as far as I can go. I can't go any farther. However, that's just a day thing. That's a now thing. How I feel in this moment. But at some point I couldn't do what I can do now. At some point there was a level below this I thought was my limit. And what we choose to do as people, unfortunately, is we wait to expand that line by one of two ways. One is when crap hits the fan, or on demand. 99% of people wait till crap hits the fan. I gotta make the money, gotta get the job, gotta get this thing taken, I gotta do it, or all hell's gonna break loose, right? Then we're forced to do it, and then we go, oh, I got more in me, right? And it shouldn't be that way. It should be somewhere you actually go, I can step in intentionally before I get to this crap hits the fan moment and avoid the negativity of that and feel pride because I outset or outpaced myself and did it intentionally, purposefully. See, I know that for all of us, we have to look at stepping into a new stage and pressing your limit is something we all have to do. We do it physically, we do it mentally. In fact, it has to be something where you go to that comfort zone and go, where am I comfortable? Where am I scared? Where can I step in to find that next level of success? Weird story that ties into this. If you think about Marvel, I love the Marvel universe, I'm a big fan. And you think about the super soldier, Captain America, right? If you remember the original movie, he was a little scrawny guy. He was comfortable, but he was a guy that where his buddies would be like, hey, calm it down, slow it down. You're scrawny, you're a tiny guy. He goes, no, I got to go do X. And he would find the limitations and find ways around them. He found ways to doctor and modify documents because he wanted to go off to the war, right? And then this new, crazy super serum thing was being created and they needed somebody to go try it out. And sure enough, my man went out there. He stepped out of the comfort zone into discomfort. And what happened is he came to be this super soldier. He took on this new science. He was uncomfortable with it, right? And that's what all of us have to do is go, where in the world do I see an opportunity that might scare me to step into it, but that's just the comfort zone trying to keep me small. I must step out of this space to get to the next tier. Because I know you have a question probably in the back of your head, but what if I've tried everything? I've tried all these things and I'm afraid of failing. Good. 100% good. You've never really tried everything, to be quite honest. We all think we've tried everything. You've tried what you feel comfortable doing or what you know to do, which means there's more that you can do because we don't know everything. So the reality is you have to step out of this and realize with no true risk, there is no reward. No risk of failure, no reward. No risk of asking somebody, no reward. So you've got to step in and go, hey, I got to do this thing of being uncomfortable because it's the price of admission to success. Now, step 2 is you got to risk it for the biscuit. Yes, that's like something that has to do with, I don't know, animals or something, who knows, but risk it for the biscuit is a little bit different. But see, most people only move with calculated risk, which is, it's okay, but then what happens is you can't take into account all the things that might go wrong. I know for me, there are a lot of things that I calculate and I want to think about the chances of success. And I go, well, if they don't match up the way I want, then I don't take the actions because they got to match up. And what I've realized is when people live in that space, when I only take action on calculated risk that I know the outcome, well, you don't take many steps because a lot of the things that are amazing that take place in life can't be calculated. There's no number that shows them. I myself am a statistic that shouldn't exist. If you look at foster kids, like I am a former foster kid of 11 years, 75% of prison inmates in America are former foster kids. Less than 1% of us graduate from college, and half the homeless population have spent time in foster care, or the ones that are there now have spent time in foster care because we age out and we have nowhere to go. So statistically, I'm not supposed to do much, but I had all that behind me. Got a college scholarship, played in the NFL, ran a business. My first one was successful and sold it, and so on. I say it to say that if I calculated the risk of taking actions and failing, I would have never started on the path of life. I never would have tried to be great at something. It doesn't matter what it is, but you got to step into something. And so when you do that, the people actually really achieve cool goals are the ones that weigh the cost, not of what will happen when I succeed, but what do I have a chance to lose? Like, what do I risk losing? What do I risk missing out on? What's the cost of an action? Am I going to lose money, lose time? Like all these things, because what happens is we start looking at life as it's got to always pan out. We fail to realize that sometimes the pathway is the gold. Sometimes what I learn on the path of failing is all the gold I need. And if I can step in and really look at what I'm going towards, then what happens is I go, I'm going to just commit to the day. Commit to the actions of the day. And it may be hard, but I'm gonna do it because what happens is you get to this destination and it's sweeter than you ever could have imagined. That's the beauty of life, is when you find that thing that's great, the destination is sweeter than you could have ever imagined. And what happens is even the effort you gave to get there, it doesn't feel like it was that bad. It feels like it was all worth it. It actually makes it where you feel more proud because you know how hard you actually fought past the point of logic to stay in the groove, and now you have this cool outcome. So that's what we all got to start looking towards, is how do we push this to the next level and take scary risks? Because whatever is happening is you land in this place of the seat of desired success when you do the things that are out of the comfort zone, past calculated risk, right? So like for me, I was a speaker. I wasn't a speaker, actually. I decided to step into the realm of speaking. But I was a gym owner, man. I was a fitness guy. My degree is currently in kinesiology, biology, anatomy, human physiology. I wasn't a communications major. I didn't know how to talk very well. I just kind of had to figure out how to do this kind of over time. And now I'm highly paid. I get paid $25,000 a keynote to go and talk and share and speak. And I'm telling you, when I started, I had no thoughts I'd be great. All I knew is if I don't do something, the risk of not putting the story out, I would feel like I'm robbing the world of the gift of something I've experienced that I can give to the world and help the world. I didn't want to get to my deathbed and meet that person and him go, you could have done this, you could have done that. So I wanted to step into it. It was scary, but the journey, as hard as it was, has made the destination so much sweeter. So you have to step in and start doing things. You might have this mentality, which is tough too, of man, but I have too much to lose to chance it. That's what a lot of people have, a thought, right? I have too much to lose by taking this step. I've done so much. I've already been successful. If I step out and do this, man, I chance losing all this credibility, this clout, this persona, my ego. And I go, yeah, so no one cares but you like that. Really, no one cares but you about how great you are. And people can poke and prod, but if you know you, it's all that matters. And what's interesting is the people who have accomplished something, they have information and skill sets to accomplish anything else at a higher level than a person that never did. So if you've accomplished something, try something. You might stumble and fall. Beautiful. It's the same process you did for this if you think about it, but it just keeps building up your ability. So when someone looks at you 5 years from now, they go, look at all they've built. Not look at what they built when they were doing this, they stumbled. No, it's all about going in and doing what you got to do from what you know to do. Step 3, discomfort is the only way. See, most people I've found in life, they're in love with the evil they know, right? I know there's this evil that I don't like too much, but I know it. And so I don't want to try this new one because what if it's worse? What if it goes wrong? And so what happens is they avoid small discomforts. They get addicted to the current comfort they have of discomfort, which is kind of a weird thing. And even if they know it keeps them small, there's a fear of what if I go after this thing and it hurts or it's worse. And so they wish for more than they will ever have in their lives because they won't go out of the evil they know into an evil they don't know. Meaning, this time I'm in my life, I know this situation. It's not perfect, but I know this one. I can manage this one. I can manage this difficulty. I don't want to expose myself to some new difficulty because what if it's hard, right? It's going to be uncomfortable, discomfort, right? But the truth is the people who decide to step out of their comfort zone and purposely seek and find discomfort, they win. You start to establish this kind of, like a thickness of skin, this weird kind of connection to difficulty. It's almost like you have a palpable desire for fear, discomfort. Like, I love puzzles. I love hardship. When problems arise, I go, you know what? Problems are inevitable, but I bring me to the problems. When you have that mentality, a problem is nothing more than like a fun puzzle to solve. Yes, some hurt. They're hard and difficult, but I don't steer clear of them because if I steer clear of them, I steer clear of success. And for you, you got to lean back into those moments and drive a little bit harder than you might because that's how you get there. And so as you look at the next step, the only way to get where you want is discomfort, because the logic of discomfort is it's the only way because that pathway is the one most people stop at. The one that's uncomfortable for you is uncomfortable for a lot of people, and a lot of people stop. So that's the pathway. The conversations, calls, the reach outs, the actions, the expression, whatever it is, that is a thing you must lean into. And when you lean into that area where everybody else leans out of it, now you get to experience something cool. And it's only then that great things happen. And like, for example, one of my clients did this recently in the pandemic when it all kicked off. They had this brick and mortar business, have it still, but the brick and mortar shut down. It's their livelihood. How do I pay the bills when I have no revenue or not the same revenue coming in for this? And the idea is we'll go online. They were able to transition their business online. When they stepped into this online world, the interesting thing was they had some success and they realized this is something that a lot of people were asking me questions about that have the same kind of business as me. And I said, why don't you create something for them? Like make something that's breaking down what you're doing. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. What if I look bad? What if it's wrong? What if it's, yeah, but what if it's right? So the conversation was wrapped around what would you do if you were to have somebody come in day one and try to mimic what you're doing? We broke it all down, put it together. Within 4 weeks of launching, after I think 2 weeks of prep, brought in 6 figures, $100,000 off a new idea. Imagine if they did not get uncomfortable. Imagine if they didn't get to the point of stepping out of that realm of fear and just going, I'm gonna lean in and do it anyways. Wouldn't have that success, wouldn't have impacted the hundreds, like almost 500 different businesses that served their clients because of what this person created. It all comes from what you put out into the world, what you create for the world. And it starts in that mentality of where do I see fear? Where do I see a difficulty? And can I step into that? And the true question you might ask yourself is, but what if I'm comfortable with where I'm at now? What if you like the place you're at? What if you're watching this video going, I'm comfortable? Well, one, you're not that comfortable. You wouldn't be watching the video right now. Right now, if you were still watching this right now, if we're being honest, there's some part of this comfort that's leaned into your heart going a little bit. May not be huge, but a little bit, right? But the truth is, at the end of our days, we have to ask ourselves a question of, did I live this life? Did you live this life? How did you show up for it? Not did you have fun in it? Did you live? And living is something that has you experience the breadth of your emotions. And those emotions sometimes are fear and discomfort, but the only way you have that massive, massive elated moment where I feel like I'm top of the world is by accomplishing something that took a rigorous grind to achieve, something that killed you in the process. Then you get there and go, man, Never thought I'd be here. Look what I did. This is how you do things, step out of the comfort zone. This is how your discomfort and not stepping into that discomfort is ruining your life, because you're missing out on opportunities you can't even see yet because you haven't stepped into a realm to approach them properly. So go and do that. Step into something. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. It's something that measures up to my heart like equally, because I understand what it's like to step in and do scary, weird, out of the box things. I'm always trying weird stuff on purpose. I want to make sure I'm a guy talking to something I am currently doing in my own life. So take this, apply this. Now also, watch this video up here. This is one of the ones that I put together that just as much passion as this one here, and I believe this will truly serve you and the people that you love. That's it. As always, do the dark work to make shift happen.